Hey everybody, welcome back to Chapter 4, Lesson 2. Chapter 4, Lesson 2, we're going to be seeing, and I want you to look for a pattern in some integer exponents because we are going to be dealing with negative exponents today. Negative exponents. All right, I hope you buckle up to your seats, and let's go. Here we go. I want you to evaluate these, come up with an answer to these problems. So I want you to pause right now and answer. All right, so when you look at this, you will look at 10 to the third, okay, which is the same as taking 10 times 10 times 10. Okay, an easy way to look at this, you just keep the 1 and you add the zeros. We have 1, 2, 3 zeros. So my answer, 10 to the third, is 1,000. 10 to the second times 10 to the second. Well, that means we have 10 to the second is 100 times 100. Your answer, 100 times 100, is 10,000. Okay, I just added these zeros through. My answer, 10,000. Next one, 10 to the 7th over 10 to the 4th. Remember how I kind of showed you that trick at the very top. However many zeros you have, you just put a 1 in front of it and add the zeros. So 10 to the 7th is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 all over 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. When we do this, okay, we can simplify here before we multiply, and I can simplify here by taking these two, because 10 divided by 10 is 1. Simplify these two. Simplify these two. Simplify these two. Look at that. I have 1 left on the bottom. I have 1 times 10 times 10 times 10 on top. Add up my zeros. My answer again is 1,000. Okay, I just wrote out all of the tens, however many tens I have. It is not 70 over 40. Do not do that. Okay, at the very bottom, the last one, you're going to have 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. Are you sick of me saying times 10 here? I hope so, because here's another one. Times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. Oh, that's a lot of tens. Now, cross them off like the top one. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, that was a boom, 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 boom. If I divided 10 to the 6th by 10 to the 6th, my answer on top would be 1. My answer on bottom would be 1, which means I have 1. 10 to the 6th divided by 10 to the 6th. Any number divided by itself is 1. All right? All right, that was a lot of information. Yeah, a lot of things happening, and with exponents, we're going to deal with those a little bit more now. Okay, so it says, learn to evaluate expressions with negative exponents and the zero exponent. Okay, so not just negative exponents, zero exponent. Right? So when you look at these problems, you're going to see a little pattern here when I start dealing with tens and their exponents. As you're going down, I'm going to show you a small pattern. Now, be careful because this does get a little confusing. So make sure you're paying close attention. I know you understand positive exponents. Negative exponents gets a little bit messy and a little bit confusing. So make sure you're paying attention. Let's go. All right. So if I look at this, everybody, I want you to look at 10 to the third is 1,000. 10 to the second, 100. 10 to the first is 10. Now, what is happening is I'm going down in my exponents. What is happening to my numbers in blue? Yeah, they're getting rid of a 0. In other words, you're dividing by 10 each time. You're dividing by 10 each time. Okay, if I take 1,000 divided by 10, I get 100. 100 divided by 10, I get 10. 110 divided by 10, I get 1. And that is the exact same thing as I'm taking 10 to the 0 power is 1. Now I'm going to show you 10 to the first power, 10 to the second power, 10 to the third power. Negative third power. Negative first, negative second, negative third. Okay? As you see this, if I saw this, okay, the same thing. You're moving your decimal one spot to the right. For instance, 10 to the third was 1,000, right? Right here. If I move my decimal to the left here, okay, I get 10 to the second, which is 100. If I move it another spot to the left, I get 10 to the first. Another spot, I get 10 to the 0 power is 1. If I moved it one more spot, 10 to the negative 1 power is 0.1. Okay, look at that. Think about that decimal. That means I'm also dividing by 10 each time. If I take 0.1 divided by 10, I get 0.01. If I take 0.01 divided by 10, I get 0.001. As I'm moving down my pattern, okay, I can clearly see what my decimals are. If you want to think of a different way, 10 to the negative first is 1/10, so 1 over 10. 10 to the negative second is 1 over 100. 10 to the negative third, 1 over 1,000. We're going to get into that pattern a little bit later, okay? But just remember, there's that pattern. As you are taking powers of 10 and exponents of 10, you're moving your decimal over either right or left, depending upon if it's positive or negative. Okay? Good rule to start is to start at 10 to the 0 power is always 1. All right? Let's try a couple. So you're writing this down. You are evaluating 10 to the negative 2 and 10 to the negative 1. So I want you to pause right now and see if you can come up with these answers. Come up with the exact answer. 10 to the negative 2 we just did. Okay? Remember, I'm moving my decimal over to the left this time. My answer is 0.01. Think of that pattern. If I know 10 to the 0 power is equal to 1, I move my decimal over 2 spots. Okay? Another one, 10 to the negative 1 is 0.1. It's 1/10. 10 to the negative 1 is 0.1. Okay? Another pattern you may be able to see here. Okay? That you may have been able to see on the second or on the previous slide. Notice if I have negative 2, 10 to the negative second, okay, I have 2 numbers behind my decimal. Negative second, 2 numbers behind my decimal. And that last number is always the 1. 10 to the negative 1. I have 1 number behind the decimal. And that last number is always a 1. So you could think about that as well. All right, so let's try a problem that I did not give you the answer to. Evaluate this one. You already wrote evaluate. It is 10 to the negative 8th. You already wrote evaluate. Don't have to rewrite the directions. Do not need to write hint, extend the pattern. Just see if you can come up with 10 to the negative 8 power. Okay, so because I have negative 8, all right, I am going to come up with 0.000000001. I have 8 numbers behind my decimal in this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The last one is a 1. The other numbers are zeros. Okay? This only works with 10 when you have powers of 10 problems. Okay? Again, powers of 10 for this one. All right? Now let's try other ones that are not powers of 10. It's going to be slightly different. So pause now. I want you to write down negative exponents. All right, so it says any number except for 0 with a negative exponent equals its reciprocal with the opposite exponent. Okay, think about that. Any number except for 0 with a negative exponent equals its reciprocal with the opposite exponent. Okay, so you're finding the reciprocal with the opposite exponent. Okay, so if you look at 5 to the negative 3, what is the denominator of that? It is all over 1. You are finding the reciprocal of 5 to the negative 3 over 1 with the opposite exponent. So reciprocal of that is 1/5, and you're finding that positive exponent. And it's positive because positive 3 is the opposite of a negative 3. Okay, which is 1 to the third over 5 to the third. 1 to the third is always 1. 5 to the third is 125. So our answer is 1 over 125. You do not need to change this into a decimal. I repeat, you do not need to change this into a decimal. Leave it as a fraction. Fractions. Use the fractions. Fractions. Use a fraction. Fraction. Keep it as a fraction. All right? All right, so let's try the next couple with me. Okay, so it says evaluate. You should already have that written down. So as you look at this, 5 to the negative third. This is the problem you just wrote down, actually. But I want to show you the work again. If you look at this, 5 to the negative 3 is all over 1, right? We want to have the reciprocal of that, which is 1 over 5 to the third power. Reciprocal and the opposite exponent. Reciprocal, opposite exponent. So when you do that, you distribute that 3 through, so you get 1 to the third, 5 to the third, and your answer is 1 over 125. Next one, I want you to get this one as a fraction. Try this one as a fraction. I know you should know this as a decimal, but try it as a fraction. Okay? So pause now. Try this one on your own. All right? So this big negative sign doesn't change if it goes into a fraction or not. This exponent negative sign does. So what you do is, again, it's negative 10 to the negative third. Notice those parentheses, all over 1, right? Okay, reciprocal is 1 over negative 10 to the positive third power. Why is it to the positive third power? Well, because we changed the exponents. Whenever we change that negative sign puts it as the reciprocal. So we take the reciprocal and the opposite exponent. All right? So when I do that, again, I will get my answer of 1 to the third times negative 10 to the third, which is 1 over a negative 1,000. 1 over a negative 1,000. And I am done with my answer on that one. All right? Okay. Next. Here we go. Try this one on your own. Try this one on your own. Think about what you have to do. So pause now. Write this one out. All right. So now you have a negative 4 as your exponent. Once you see that negative 4, what do you got to be thinking of? You have to be thinking reciprocal. So it's negative 7 all over negative 4 is the same thing as 1/7 to the fourth power, to the positive fourth power. Okay? To the positive, negative 7 to the positive fourth power. Okay? Now when we do this, again, when we do this problem, I will get 1 to the 4th power over negative 7 to the 4th power. 1 over, and that's negative 7 times negative 7 times negative 7 times negative 7. Not negative 7 times 4. Remember that exponent means all of these written out. When I take negative 7 times negative 7 times negative 7 times negative 7, I will get 1 over 2,401. Okay, just so you know, on your math quizzes or on your math test, you are not going to get a calculator. However, you will not get a problem that is like this. I wanted to give you a little bit more of a difficult problem, and remember what this means, what that negative 7 to the 4th means on your notes. However, on your test or on your quiz, you're not going to get a problem where it's such a big number. Okay, because I want to know if you know what it means rather than if you can multiply to a bigger number. Okay? All right, so this is important, but you don't have to write it down. If you want to write it down, it would probably be good, but I do not expect it because we wrote the previous one. Any number that is taken to the 0 power is always 1, except for 0. Any number taken to the 0 power is always 1, except for 0. So if you took 4 to the 0 power, you will get 1. 30 to the 0 power, you will get 1. Negative 123,456,789 to the 0 power is 1. Okay? Is 1. All right? So remember that. Any number to the 0 power except for 0 is 1. So let's try a couple. Here we go. We have evaluate. 5 minus 6, 5 minus the sum of 6 minus 4 to the negative third plus a negative 2 to the 0 power. Break this into steps. I'm going to walk you through this first one. I want you to do the second one on your own. Okay? I'm going to break this into steps. Okay, so this is how I started, right? Very first thing, do what's in parentheses. Don't forget about the negative third. Do what's in parentheses. So you take 6 minus 4. What's 6 minus 4? 2. So I have 5 minus 2 to the negative third plus negative 2 to the 0 power. Evaluate my exponents. I now have 5 minus, what is 2 to the negative third? Remember, that is 1 over 2 to the third power plus negative 2 to the 0 is the same thing as 1. Any number to the 0 power is 1 except for 0. Okay, so now we have 5 minus 1/8 plus 1. 5 minus 1/8 plus 1. Okay, how did I get that 1/8? I tripled 1/2. Okay, I found the exponent. I did not triple it. I took 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. Okay, 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. When I did that, I got this answer. Okay, so now I have 5 minus 1/8. 5 minus 1/8. If you remember, 5 minus 1/8. Okay, I cannot take 1/8 minus 5. I have to bring over 5 and 0/8. I borrow an 8/8 over to that. Straight down, I get 7/8 and 4. So 4 and 7/8 plus 1. My answer, 5 and 7/8. Leave it as a fraction. Leave it as a fraction. If you change it into a mixed number, so be it. Notice how I broke each step down. This is a complicated problem. Go step by step by step. Do not do this in your head. Don't do it. It will confuse you if you do it in your head. Okay? There's a lot of things going on here. Step by step by step. All right? The next one I want you to try on your own. Pause this right now and try it. Okay? I am going to take this step by step by step. Okay? When I do that, I'm going to start off with, I'm just going to rewrite the problem. Why? Because it's easy to do and it makes it a little bit more clear. Okay, what do I have to do first? Parentheses. So 3 plus 7 minus 4 is 3 to the second. To the negative second, I apologize. Plus a negative 8 to the 0. Then, what is 3 to the negative second? 3 plus. Well, that's the same thing as taking 1/3 to the second power. Plus negative 8 to the 0 is 1. Any number to the 0 power, 1. Okay, what is 1/3 to the second power? So I get 3 plus 1/9 plus 1. Add from left to right. I can do this. I get 3 and 1/9 plus 1. My answer, 4 and 1/9. The tricky part is this step, okay, between these two steps, from the second to the third step. That's the tricky part because it has that negative exponent in there. Remember, 3 to the negative second power is the same thing as 1/3 to the second power. Okay? Today's lesson does get a little messy. Okay, so the homework's going to get a little messy as well. If you have any questions, please, please, please ask me. Okay, I'm here to help. I'm here to help. So ask me. Hi, I'm the guy in the front of the room. Ask me when we're in class. All right? I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day. See you later. Bye.